Now it's time for TIPisodes with quick tips you should know. Techniques you can implement into your workflow right here on A Tale, oh yeah, A Tale of Two Hygienists.
Hey everyone, it's David and Jessica, and today we've got a quick episode for you. We hear all the time from hygienists about patients struggling with dry mouths, so we wanted to bring in something that's been getting a lot of attention lately. Moisyn from Protect and Sciences.
It uses a really interesting ingredient called chitotech that actually helps retain moisture, not just temporarily relieve it. So, we're going to let you hear a little more about it and why it might be worth considering for your patients.
Hi, it's Dr. Michael Miyazaki, and I'm really excited to have Karen Davis with us today. Karen and I have known each other for a long, long time. We're trying to figure out how long, but we can't even remember how long. But Karen's a great person, a great educator, very knowledgeable in hygiene, and we've got a really good topic to cover today. But just real quick, Karen is an active dental hygienist, has been doing this for a little bit now. She has her own education company, Cutting Edge Concepts, and so she does a lot of teaching and works with a lot of different manufacturers. One of them is Sciences, which is now Vis Apex Solutions, and she's able to lend her expertise and guide us so we can develop products that are actually valuable to both our patients and the clinicians that are using those products. So, Karen, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Dr. Mike Miyazaki. I am always happy to be affiliated with whatever you've got going on. You always have a lot.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for the
No,
invite.
yeah. Well, yeah, thank you. So today, when you look at the slide that's up, we're going to be talking about Moisyn. And Moisyn is a product that I had used, I don't know how long ago, was it 6, 7 years ago?
Probably. Yep.
And then it kind of left the market and now it's coming back in. And even when we were using it many years ago, it was always regarded as one of the best products if your patients had any type of dry mouth situation, which, as we all know, a lot of our patients are suffering from today. So I'm going to turn it over to you, and I look forward to learning all about Moisyn.
Wow. Well, since this is one of my very favorite products, and I kind of went into grief when it went off the market, when I realized that Sciences had purchased this product and now under Vista Apex, it is launching back onto the market, I was thrilled because not only am I a dry mouth sufferer and a lot of my patients are, but I mean, worldwide, this is just a huge problem. So, this to me is exciting that it's back on. And I'd love to just educate your audiences a little bit about what's different, what's unique about Moisyn. All right. So, I mean, I don't have to start here. Everybody in this space that we're practicing, we all know there's just a lot of downstream effects of our patients. And even if we are suffering from xerostomia, and the one I really want to focus on here is it really can affect your quality of living. If you are a significant dry mouth sufferer, you experience all these things: difficulty in swallowing, choking in the presence of audiences, waking up in the middle of the night feeling like you're going to choke because you don't have enough saliva to swallow. All of those things really can affect your quality of living. And there's a really high prevalence. I mean, all of these conditions that you see here are related to xerostomia. And this list is not decreasing, it's growing worldwide. In fact, this really interesting market study predicted that by 2027, and we're actually right in the middle of this prediction, we're approaching this, that this whole artificial saliva market is just exploding because the needs are just continuing to escalate, unfortunately. And there's just 20 million new cases diagnosed for the need for artificial saliva, particularly related to cancer and cancer treatments. So just that one category alone, that is growing exponentially, along with all these other reasons why we need a solution. So, if you're in that space as a company, you're thinking, okay, we need something a little bit different. What would be ideal? Well, here's the ideal list that I can think of. Something that would be moisture retentive, not just temporary solution, temporary relief, but what if it could actually retain moisture in the oral cavity? And by doing so, it's going to automatically provide a lot of soothing relief for that dry environment. And of course, you don't want harsh chemicals. You want something that would be really gentle. And then you obviously need it to be compliant. So it's got to taste good, or no matter how effective it is, your patients aren't going to use it. So, with that in the background, and obviously it's got to be simple to use, there's a lot of different products that have emerged onto the market: mouth rinses, sprays, lozenges, chewing gum, all kinds of solutions. There's a lot on the market. But let's go back and reintroduce this product, Moisyn, because it is uniquely different. One of the things that I appreciated about Moisyn early on, still do, it does not have any of the dyes. It is as crystal clear as water. So I love the fact that it is a solution that brings moisture soothing, moisture retention, moisture adhesion to the oral environment, and no dyes, no harsh chemicals. And it's a really unique innovation. If you know anything about this technology called chitosan, it has a lot of different pronunciations. This is the way I pronounce it. Others may pronounce it differently, but chitosan actually comes from the remnants of the shells of shellfish. And it's you see all these properties here that the two that really are most important for purposes in the oral cavity, it's mucoadhesive and moisture retentive. That sets it apart from some other products on the market, which if you try this product, you immediately can appreciate the difference of other products you've tried. So it's actually been used in a lot of different industries. It's used in winemaking. It's used in water purification. Chitosan is actually used as a product spray for agricultural purposes. So there's a lot of worldwide uses already for this product and this technology. But because it is mucoadhesive and moisture retentive, if you combine that with arginine, you're going to have a really pH neutral product, and it in itself is even adding more moisture retention to it. And then you get this Chitotec, which is actually the magic ingredient in Moisyn. And it has all of these properties because this technology combined together, this proprietary Chitotec, is really changing the whole scope of how it feels in your mouth when you use it. And I love the fact that it comes in two options. I can gargle with this and get it to the very back of my throat as a mouth rinse, or my favorite product is this. I get to carry this around, and this is what I loved about this product initially. It comes just like this. I carry it in my suitcase, I carry it in my bag, I use it at my practice when I'm treating patients. I love the fact that it's convenient to use, comes in two different options. And so it really has a lot of nice properties. There's just one caution. People that are allergic to shellfish, you may just want to choose other products. Usually, when you're allergic to shellfish, you're really allergic to the protein in the actual fish, not the shell itself. But I just think, as an abundance of caution, if I've got a patient that is allergic to shellfish, I'm probably going to direct them to another product because there are other products, not with this unique Chitotec technology, but there are other products on the market. And then also, I think if you've got patients that are kosher sensitive, you want to just direct them to other things out of respect and regard for that. But let's talk about, does it work? It works in my mouth, it works in my patients' mouths, but what's the science? Is there any data to support it? Well, yeah, this really interesting study that was published in 2017, and they had about 57, 58 patients that they did a 1 week trial. This was just a short trial. And what they found is, look at this, look at these numbers: 100% improvement in the whole unstimulated saliva just by using the spray or the gargling with the mouth rinse, swishing that around. 82% of this dry mouth population said, wow, we've got immediate relief of our symptoms. 30% improvement in pain that wakes you up in the middle of the night. I don't know if you've ever had that experience, but as a xerostomia patient, I have had way too many times where I'm waking up, difficulty swallowing, discomfort, and wow, immediate relief with that. And then, yeah, a really high percentage of patients said, okay, you put this in my hands, it solves my problem. yes, I want to purchase this on my own. So I like the fact that it's not just anecdotal in terms of its effectiveness. There's actually some study and some science to support that. And then I like to share this one patient of mine. Marcia is actually a really good friend of mine. She was diagnosed with Sjogren's kind of late in life. She's only had it for about 6 or 7 years. And she has the same syndrome that most Sjogren's patients have. They've got the incredibly dry eyes, incredibly dry mouth. She also was taking antidepressants at the time of her diagnosis. She was on antihistamines, antihypertensive. So she had a lot of those typical medication side effects that are drying up the environment. And then she also was diagnosed with Sjogren's. And so this was the first time around when Moisyn was on the market. I was able to introduce Marcia to this product, and she used it, and I like to check in with my patients. I'm a big texter with my patients, so I just asked them, "Hey, Marcia, can I, uh, text you and follow up and see how this is working?" So I texted her a couple of weeks, maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks afterwards. I just, "Hey, Marcia, how is this working in your mouth?" And you know what she said to me? She said this, "Karen, I don't ever wanna be without this product." And that became her new go-to for solving her problems, and it has been for so many of my patients, and it is definitely Karen's go-to. So, I'm excited about the relaunch of this product, and I want all of my friends and colleagues to have an opportunity to experience the uniqueness of a product that has a different technology. It's mucoadhesive, it's moisture retentive. It really helps to solve the problem. So, I'm thrilled about
Wow.
this.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's all the information you presented are great. I know I learned a lot of new things about Moisyn. So a couple questions I have is what is the experience you have? Like if you use the rinse or use the mist, does it keep your mouth moist for like an hour, half hour, or is it half a day? What do most patients report back?
Yeah, there's not really a limit on how often you can use this. So I like that. I like the fact that I start my day with, after I've brushed my teeth, I've cleansed my mouth, I start my day with a deep gargle with the rinse because I'm about to start the rest of my day with coffee, which is going to be really drying. So, what I have found is after I brush my teeth and I gargle with the moisten rinse and get it way down my throat, then the rest of the day, I'm actually, because it's moisture retentive, even though I'm exposing my mouth to things like coffee, it's just not nearly as drying. So, how often am I gonna then go to my spray that I keep on my desk while I'm working and while I'm talking and doing calls like this throughout the day and webinars? You know, it depends. It probably depends on the allergies. I mean, right now I've got terrible allergies, so I'm going to this all the time. I'm probably spraying 4 or 5, 6 times a day just because I've got a lot of I'm on antihistamines myself right now. So it varies, but I just tell my patients, keep this around, start your day with gargling with it, and then I end up my day. I like before I go to bed, I do another deep gargle because again, nighttime is my biggest challenge. But I keep this at my nightstand too. So if I need to reach over during the night, have another spray of this just to lubricate everything again, retain that moisture all over again for the remainder of my night. It's a great go-to. I never have to use it more than once during the night.
No, that's great. And then what do you see as far as, if you see them, a lot of people that have xerostomia, their gums are going to be a little bit more irritated, a little bit
Oh,
more
yeah.
red because they don't get the bathing effect of the saliva. Does that change? Like when they come back for the next hygiene visit, do you see less inflammation or maybe less decay at all?
Well, yeah, I'm really glad you're asking that question because at the end of the day, it's not just about providing relief for the patient. Those patients are incredibly high risk for not only decay, but periodontal disease has also been shown through studies to increase with severe xerostomia. I mean, that buffering action, when you lower that, it changes the whole microbiome. So if we're providing a solution that's moisture retentive and it's not nearly as dry in that environment, yeah, it actually reduces the potential for inflammation, the potential for caries, the potential for periodontal diseases. But you've got to be consistent with it. Well, the thing that I also love about Moisyn, it feels so good and it tastes so good. It's really easy to be compliant with this.
No, that's good to know. And I think the last question, because this is a product, in your experience, and especially working in a dental practice, do you find that it's better to stock up and have it available for the patient, or do you find that's easier to just refer them to another source, or what do you recommend that the users expect, I guess, as far as dispensing it to their patients?
Well, I know that's a big debate in a lot of practices, but I'm just going to tell you my opinion as a practicing clinician forever. I've always had this opinion. If you really, really want your patients to use the Sonicare, to use the Periosciences, to use the Perioprotect, to use the Moisyn, whatever technologies you want to intervene on behalf of your patients, and you say, Mike, there's this probiotic. I really recommend you use this. Mike, whatever it is, fill in the blank. If that's what you want to just put in your patient's hands, dispense it right there in the practice. Just make it available. Reduce that factor of they have to leave the practice, remember on their own time to go purchase this, even if it's an easy purchase. Let's say you can get this on Amazon, which you will be able to get it on Amazon after the launch, but you're still relying on that patient to break away from their busy schedule after they leave you to remember to do this. And we all know what that shakes out to be. You see them the next time, you inquire, oh, I meant to do that. Or, oh, I did that, but I ran out and I didn't. So you just, I'm a big believer in be selective of the products that you want your patients to use, but then be willing to dispense it. It's not difficult to do that in the practices. And I just think you're going to win. Your patients are going to win by getting the results you ultimately want by making it just accessible. Take that, take that factor off the table if you can. That's Karen's opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. Every office has their own opinions about retailing products out of their office, whether it's worth it or not. But no, I agree. It's if we leave it to the patients, they probably will never get it done. Either they forget it, they get busy. So I think that's
Yeah, and you know what? We just in all the products we dispense, we just have a very marginal markup. This is not where our profit center is.
Mhm.
It's nice to cover your charges and just make sure that you're covering the time required for somebody to order the product, keep it in stock and all that. But this is not labor intensive in your practice, so you don't need to have a big markup. It's really just the convenience for the patient, and it's making the statement that you so believe in these products, you want to make it available before they walk out the door.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I agree. We've had patients that were using it, and they did feel a lot of relief when they were using the moistened products. So I think
Yeah.
that's the valuable part. And then, one more, this is just a funny question, I think. If we were gonna retail it, I was just wondering if you had found that good ratio of, like, 1 bottle to 2 mist bottles or anything like that? Was there a secret formula?
No, I I want 2 of these to be dispensed always, and here is why. If you're a dry mouth sufferer, you need one at home or your office, and you need one to be able to just easily travel with. You
Mhm.
always want to have a couple of these around. And so, in my ideal world, I would have 1 mouth rinse and 2 of these dispensed,
Yeah.
and that would just be my dream.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about, like, your reading glasses, right? You just have them all
Yep,
over the house.
yep, exactly, yep.
So, what
Those of us that are dependent upon these, we don't just have 1 pair, correct?
yeah. No, I order them by the dozen just 'cause where I put them. So, yeah, one bottle of the rinse to gargle with, that can
Mhm.
stay at home by
Yep.
your bathroom sink, and then just have the spray bottles everywhere you go.
Yeah, no, I think having 2 of these, just 1 to travel around with, 1 to keep accessible at home, that's ideal to me.
Yeah. No, that's great. No,
Yep.
yeah, well, thank you very much for this information. I think, yeah, we're all excited to see Moisten come out because it was a great product, and I think you're right, that your statistics showing that more patients today have
Yeah.
dry mouth for some reason, whether it be all the
Right.
pharmaceuticals or age or whatever it may be, and I think this is a product whose time has come.
And I wanna just jump in here and say one more thing about age. I'm seeing a lot of younger patients with dry mouth, and you know why?
Why?
They are smoking weed. They are using marijuana. And no matter how you use it, of course, smoking is going to cause the greatest xerostomia. But no matter how you're using it, even at edibles, it has a real drying effect in the oral cavity. So don't overlook the younger population. They may not be in a lot of meds. They may not have autoimmune diseases, other compromising situations like that. But I have a lot of patients that are using cannabis, and that is a downside. It's an immediate side effect of cannabis uses. So look at all your age population, take a look at the salivary flow, the salivary content, and I love the fact that Moisyn is coming back to solve that problem.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. And then just, we see it airway issues today,
Absolutely.
people
And that is across the gamut with age.
yeah, and then that's that having something just keeps the teeth bathed or moistened will help reduce
Right.
the pain. So no, I think you're absolutely right. So this is like an endless problem. And I think
Job security for
yeah, Jeff,
products like this on the market.
but you gave us a solution today. So no, we appreciate that. Well, Karen, thank you very much for joining us. Thanks for sharing all the information that you have. And we are looking forward to having you come back and talk to us more about Moisyn and some of the other products that are coming up, because there's so many great products that we don't know about, but you do.
Well, I am a big one to research and try new products. So, yes, check in with me anytime that I could be of help and assistance.
All right. Thank you
Great
very
to
much.
reconnect, Mike.
Yeah. Take care.
Thanks. Same to you.
Listeners, we hope that gave you something new to think about when it comes to managing dry mouth. Products like Moisyn, especially with both a rinse and mist option, can be a simple way to elevate patient care beyond the basics.
And with results like improved saliva flow and high patient satisfaction, it's definitely something to keep on your radar. If you want to learn more, just Google Moisyn, Moisyn. We'll see you next time.
A tale of two hygienists.